President Conference, Tony Kearns, Deputy General Secretary, Communication Workers Union and proud member of Kingston and Surbiton Constituency Labour Party, to move the motion supporting Labour's Community Wealth Builders Conference across the country, from Salford to North Ayrshire, Preston to North of Tyne. Labour leaders are not just talking about community wealth building, they're delivering it. And while Boris Johnson talks about levelling up, the real community wealth builders aren't selling off housing stock to the lowest bidder. They're building quality council homes for the future. They aren't slashing jobs, they're creating well-paid unionised ones. They aren't privatising and flogging off services, they're insourcing them. And they aren't leaving our young to study in clumbering classrooms or our elderly to languish in cold care homes, they're rebuilding them. And they aren't just talking about a Green New Deal, like some in our movement, they're building the infrastructure on the ground to deliver it. And this agenda, delivered in conjunction with the trade union movement, is based on advancing a progressive procurement agenda in support of unionisation. Now, we know some councils, like some bad bosses, are doing it wrong. But what this motion is about decent work. The current model in the economy is not fit for purpose. We see it on a daily basis with fire and rehire, 0 hours contracts. Let's forget this passivity of, if you like, cozying up to business and enabling them to do what they want. This is about democratic ownership. This is not about outsourcing. This is about the insourcing of public services, the use of land and property to generate wealth and resources for local communities, workforce policies that counter in-work poverty and 0 hours contracts, and a more inclusive democratic ownership of the local economy. By embracing this motion, the Labour Party and our wider movement provide a way back to the people who have turned their backs on us in the very communities that have been neglected for far too long. And as this agenda spreads to more and more places, there is an understandable desire that its transformative potential must be kept alive. It must not be watered down or co-opted by others for their own purposes. And to that end, the CWU continue to be in regular conversations with leading organisations to create a certification as to what community wealth building is and what it isn't. And conference, let's be clear about what it is. It is a way to re-empower the disempowered, to relight a fire in our communities where many have been left without belief that things can be different than the way they are now. This is an agenda that rebuilds collectivism, puts it at the heart of our communities and strikes back at the decades of Thatcherite agenda that has said everything is somebody else's problem. We don't need to sit in front of hand-picked focus groups to tell you what the people of our country are crying out for. Talk to any working person and they'll tell you instinctively that the system is rigged in favour of the rich. And as working people have watched their local areas collapse under the weight of austerity, the richest have seen their wealth soar, and it is time for a major adjustment. It is time for our communities to get their share of the wealth they create. Let's support this motion. Let's support those that are building community wealth and community power on the ground, and let's use this agenda to make this Labour Party relevant once again in every single community across this country. I move.
Thank you, Delegate.